God is good. Today, guys, I want to make a video giving you some nice immersive games that you can really sink your teeth into and play and really just dive into the world and really get entrenched into it and kind of escape from reality. I know a lot of people are stuck home right now during the time of this recording, and we can really use some relaxation with some gaming. And let's see what games I think personally you should be playing during this time. A really great distraction if you want to get really immersed into a world and into a game with plenty of activities to do. Now, I would argue that for its actual genre of being an MMORPG, that it's a good game, but it's not great. At least according to what I enjoy in an MMORPG. If you follow the channel, you know exactly what I mean. However, just for a game while you're stuck at home or something to play, there's plenty to do in Elder Scrolls Online, and I would highly recommend it because it's very interactive for an MMORPG. I have to give it credit for that. So you can steal from NPCs and all kinds of stuff like that. There's a justice system that goes along with that. You can feel like you're getting away with things if you play a dirty criminal type. Also, there's a lot of lore here, so you can go really deep into the Elder Scrolls lore through books and conversations, side quests, and exploring the world. It's the largest explorable Elder Scrolls game that has ever been released, so you can really hop around to different continents and really check out a lot of things. It's also easy to explore in this game without a huge time investment because, as love it or hate it, it's good for exploration and for if you're just wanting to spend a little time in the world. And that's their system that allows you to go anywhere, anytime, and the zone would just kind of adjust to whatever level you are. So it doesn't hold you back. If there's things you want to go do in the world, you can go right out and do it. Also, the game has one of the better PvP systems out of modern games, as far as it does have arenas and structured PvP, but it also has where you can go out into Cyrodiil and actually do some really cool like siege weaponry and awesome stuff there, and I highly recommend that. If you like PvP, ESO is one of the better offerings for that, in my opinion, if you're looking for PvP with a purpose. I do believe that it satisfies quite well. There's a lot of in-game stuff to do if you get to that point, including the PvP would be something to do, but they also have harder options for the dungeons, actually to a point of definitely being raid-type material. There are a ton of side quests, a lot of people to meet and quests to do scattered all over this world, which has grown a lot thanks to constant updates and new chapters being added, etc. You can play this game for free, but you will miss out on the chapters and things like that. You can buy those individually, or you can pay a monthly fee and get access to all of them. There are plenty of expansions available as well. Lots to do here, and it is a very enjoyable and immersive game. The graphics too have held up really well, and if you played this game way back in the day when it first launched, they have done a lot of improvements since then. So if that was your last impression of Elder Scrolls Online, then you should probably check it out because it's a totally different ball game now. Also, who could deny how cool it is to actually be able to turn into a vampire or a werewolf in your MMO? That's pretty cool. Now, I will admit that this game feels very solo until you get into events like the dungeons or PvP or some of that kind of stuff. It does feel like you're just playing a single player RPG a lot of the times with other people running around. But if you're just looking for an immersive experience and not your next MMO to play forever, then I would definitely recommend that Elder Scrolls Online is a great option right now to give you something fun to do and kind of escape from reality. But maybe you feel like an MMO is a little much of a time investment, too much of a time sink, etc., and you're looking for something you can just play right now that you don't want to feel like you have to get invested in. Well, then I definitely have the game for you, and that is Outward. This is a really deep, entrenching, difficult, but yet rewarding RPG that was made by an indie studio by just a few people, and it is an incredible game that really takes you back to RPGs of old, or it's kind of like that game that you always wished they would make, where you're just some regular guy and you go out into the world and you just explore and you meet new people and figure out how you're going to play the game based on your own terms, and even when you die, it puts you into another adventure. So even when you die, like depending on where you die and what's going on in that particular area and many other factors, for example, a wolf may drag you back to its den and you have to fight your way out, or maybe you're near a group of bandits and they take you and make you prisoner, or even make you a slave and you have to work your way out of that situation, or maybe just a traveler just happens to wander by and see you and drags you to safety, or even sets you up and gives you some free stuff because he feels bad for you. I mean, the amount of things that can happen in Outward is incredible and astounding. Everybody's playthrough is so different on what happens to them because of the way they built this world, that if you haven't played this game, you've really been missing out. And now could be a perfect time for you to jump into this world and play it and enjoy it, because there's a lot to enjoy here. Multiple factions you could go through with their own separate storylines and quests. Even unlocking magic is its own adventure. Everything about this game is kind of like it's an RPG or a dream come true. So if you're looking for immersive, this is a game you can jump into, and it is co-op. You can play with a friend, either split screen or online, but you can also play it by yourself. And no matter how you decide to play Outward, all I can say is if you give it a chance, you will actually get immersed and lose a lot of time, because it is very fun and addicting. So highly recommended would be Outward. Maybe you're looking for something that's a little bit more Skyrim-like or Elder Scrolls-like, and you don't want to play an MMO, so Elder Scrolls Online is out. Well, let me take you back to the past just a little bit. Now, this game is supposed to be getting a full remaster, which will be great, but if you haven't played it before, maybe you should check out, maybe it's time for Gothic 2. Gothic 2 is an incredible game made by a German developer, Piranha Bytes, and this is a game from 2002 back in Germany, and it released in America I think around 2003, and this was a really cool, awesome, deep RPG with an open world, one of the early open world games, but honestly with some mods you can actually make this game still look pretty nice, and definitely a lot to explore here and a lot to do. I feel like this game most people know about it, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but it is a game that I always felt like was super Dungeons and Dragons feeling, with the way that the world works and the creatures within it and all that kind of the story, everything. So definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Now, I couldn't forgive myself if I didn't mention this little gem. So if you're a fan of old school JRPGs, especially back from like the Super Nintendo time frame, and you kind of wish that things could be that cool again somehow today with sprite graphics, but also be updated and cool, then you gotta check out Octo Pap Traveler, which at the time it's recording is on sale on Steam. Normally a $60 game, it's for 30 bucks right now. And if you love those days, or if you grew up during those days and you play JRPGs, this is a must go to. It somehow, with the way that it presents itself, takes that old school feeling and those graphics and sprites and makes them somehow feel fresh and new and look awesome. And the combat is really well, it's turn-based but with some quirks. The story is good. I wouldn't say it's incredible, but in a way it kind of is. So there's so many interesting NPCs and things like that that you're going to meet on your travels. Plus I thought it was interesting the way that it took different storylines. You can kind of choose how you play out those storylines until they all get together and it kind of merges into one singular storyline. All those kind of things I thought was really cool. But if you haven't checked out this game, definitely worth checking out. It is available on PC now. It originally came out as a Switch exclusive, but now it's available on Steam. So definitely one to check out and look out for. And obviously, very immersive. A game that you can really sink your teeth into and get a lot of playtime out of. Now to mention a game that probably everybody's at least heard of. Okay, maybe you didn't try it. Maybe you were playing a different game during its heyday and you kind of feel like you missed out. You'll never get to experience the way the game was meant to be played, and that is Dark Age of Camelot. And the reason I'm mentioning this game is because the Phoenix server is alive and popping. I was down and sick here recently, and needed something to do while I was feeling bad, needed something to kind of perk my spirits up, so I accidentally, inadvertently, got hooked back into this game. Because the Phoenix server is honestly it's so close to the way the game used to be as far as population. There's plenty of people running around as a full server, full of people. Everywhere you go, you're gonna run into people doing things, especially in the RVR, which is their version of PvP, the best version of PvP in my opinion that has ever came to any MMO. And this is just an excellent game. Playing on the Phoenix server reminded me why I loved this game so much back in the day. And I believe if you missed out on this gem back in 2001, 2002-ish, when this game was definitely on fire, then this is definitely a great time to jump in and play on the Phoenix server and level up. There's lots of people. I mean, the population is great. And that's what a game that has this RBR focus needs is a good population and people out doing it, and that is certainly happening. It's a game where Sure, you can level up faster than you could in the old days back when this game launched. However, it's steady and the PvE is still there. Lots of cool dungeons to explore. I mean, where else currently on the market, and I'm definitely talking about out right now at the time of this recording, can you play a game where you have 3 totally different factions to choose your character from, each faction having its own race and its own classes, 3 sets of classes, 3 sets of races, and 3 lands to explore in PvE before you even collide out in the new frontiers for RVR dominance. This game is incredible, and if you haven't checked it out, because of the Phoenix server, it is an excellent time to jump in, start playing, and have a great time, and see how cool PvP, if done right, can truly be. And also the PvE's not bad either. And now I'm going to run through some games that I feel pretty certain you've heard of. There may be a few in here maybe you haven't or forgot about, or maybe in your back catalog that you forgot about. But anyway, let's run through some games real quick that I really think could get you through these trying times. Of course, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. You know, that's a great game, lots to do. If you haven't played it, then definitely that's one to get lost in. Awesome graphics, especially with mods and things like that, or get the Legendary Edition with a lot of the visual upgrades already in one package if you don't want to deal with mods. I know I personally get aggravated trying to load them, etc. So that's an option for you. Another game that I wanted to mention is Stalker, The Shadows of Chernobyl. So that's a really cool game. Everybody that I've ever talked to that has played it all kind of agrees that it is an absolute atmospheric masterpiece. It's a lot different than everything else I had put on the list because it's a post-apocalyptic game. It's kind of depressing and haunting, and it's a really good game though. And if you want to really get immersed, I definitely feel like that deserves its place on this list, just for being so unique and such a cool game. Of course, you got games like The Witcher 3, which is probably, by many people's opinion, the best single-player RPG of all time, at least at the time of this recording. CD Projekt Red, a smaller team, made this impressive, huge, sprawling world where every single quest was awesome, and it was almost like you can't even do a quest without there being some kind of twist to the story or something that throws you off or is creepy or crazy. It's a fantastic game, and tons, 150 to 200 hours worth of playtime in this original game, and definitely something to look out for, but I've talked about it a lot. Another game that is definitely really cool that if you haven't played before is worth checking out is Fallout New Vegas. That one is, out of the newer Fallout games, definitely my favorite. It's just something about the world and all the detail that they put into it that really makes this game so awesome. And it's made by Obsidian, which is one of my favorite RPG developers. So definitely worth checking out. If you've been skipping that one, now might be a good time to dive in and check it out. And a game that I actually recently streamed and have talked about and put in other lists as well, but it has to be mentioned here, is Kingdom Come Deliverance. This is a really hardcore medieval simulator RPG where there's no magic. It's very realistic. The way that you fight, the way the world behaves, the way NPCs act and talk to you and everything, it feels so cool. It's kind of like, as you're playing, it feels very next gen from what we've become accustomed to in open world games. Very, very realistic, and just something that if you haven't experienced, it's definitely stands apart from the crowd as being something special in a sea of games that sometimes begin to feel a lot the same. And a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Very immersive, lots to do, open world, best Zelda game they've ever made, even though I'm still partial to Ocarina of Time. Definitely, if you haven't checked that out, of course that's not available on PC, but it is available on the Switch, and definitely a game you should probably check out. If you haven't already and you like open world games, there's absolutely no reason not to play one of the best, which would be this game. And then of course you can always go back to truly old school and play P99 EverQuest. A little bit of a difficulty setting it up and getting started, however if you can get in there, this brings EverQuest back to its original days. I talk about it a lot, I've streamed it. It's a fantastic time, and if you were around back in the old days of EverQuest, or if you always wondered what it was like back then when MMORPGs were a brand new thing, this is the best way to experience NORAD, in my opinion, currently as of the time of this recording. So definitely something else to check out. So what do you guys think? Are you going to try out any of these games? Have you played some of these games? Let me know what you think about them. If you agree with my assessment on these are some of the most immersive games to play to kind of escape reality and enjoy something beyond all the current events of all the craziness happening at the time of this recording. Guys, let me know in the comments down below, and until next time, God bless and happy gaming. Listen to what I say. I've been making videos all day. My friends all say it's a video buffet. You can even hit replay. But please just subscribe. I can't even describe being part of my tribe. I'll even offer you a prize. But just please just subscribe and hit the bell notification too.